You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances while the township supervisor...
Legal appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next...
Will Tiffany Henyard, the self-described super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, ultimately face consequences for her actions? Rumor has it that she was arrested and that the federal authorities is now looking into her. After years of unrest, allegations of corruption, and several scandals, Henyard's rule appears to be coming to an end. But how has the woman who had earlier promised to better her town fared so far? Once spoke to a February town hall, and why is she now being abandoned by so many of the people who once backed her?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
Let's look at the shocking details of Tiffany Henyard's controversial time as mayor of Dalton. During his rise to prominence, Henyard made grandiose promises of reform and a fresh start for the hamlet. However, those promises quickly turned out to be empty rhetoric. Instead of enacting the necessary change Dalton needed, Henyard's leadership became notorious for its instability, corruption allegations, and autocratic manner, earning her the nickname Dalton Dictator. Henyard immediately made a name for herself both inside and beyond the community after winning the 2021 election. She wasn't content with her role as mayor, though, so she also took on the role of supervisor for Thornton Township, where she reportedly made almost $300,000. Many of Dalton's working-class residents found this high salary confusing and annoying. As soon as accusations of unethical behavior emerged, concerns about the town's financial status grew. Over time, Henyard's leadership style became increasingly erratic, raising further questions about her ability to lead effectively. What started out as murmurs about her questionable behavior has now escalated into severe scrutiny due to reports of an ongoing investigation. She is being criticized by the same people who formerly supported her. As criticism mounts, Henyard's term in office appears to be coming to an abrupt and uncertain end.
I don't handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
The issue took a significant turn when allegations of financial malfeasance began to emerge. Henyard's lavish spending practices, which were funded by taxpayers, were the subject of reports that surfaced, and they were far worse than anyone could have imagined. This extended beyond a couple of fancy dinners. Henyard is alleged to have spent tens of thousands of dollars on first-class flights, fancy hotels, and fine eating. Credit card records revealed a shocking 5-month buying binge totaling over $100,000, and this was just the beginning, according to sources. Henyard's expenditures were not only excessive, but also totally unmanageable. In one of the most extreme examples, she and her group allegedly spent over $99,000 at the Four Seasons Hotel in Atlanta, and then an even more obscene $133,000 at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. Trustees and residents soon realized that the town's finances were being spent at a startling rate. While the rest of the community was visibly struggling, Henyard was living lavishly. When concerned residents and trustees began to question the spending, there have been reports of silence or worse, retaliation. The scandal surrounding Henyard's extravagant lifestyle was becoming more difficult to ignore, and the public's trust in their mayor appeared to be waning. Accusations of fiscal irresponsibility and egregious misappropriation of public funds were triggering a much-needed reckoning. Now that erstwhile supporters of Tiffany Henyard are coming forward, their comments are anything but positive. Think about Thornton Township trustee Carmen Carlisle. Carlisle was Henyard's assistant and one of her closest confidants before she was appointed a trustee in 2023. But Carlisle has had enough. She accused Henyard of using deceit and unethical tactics to try to gain more power and influence in a scathing public address. According to Carlisle, Henyard has been lying to locals, employees, and suppliers for years while maintaining a tidy facade of success. Numerous people who once backed Henyard are coming out about what they witnessed, and it is evident that her leadership persona is beginning to unravel.
Motion to terminate Keith.
Carlisle's findings have only intensified the problem around Henyard's leadership. In a special board meeting, Carlisle admitted that she had first trusted Henyard and did not question the excessive spending. Eventually, though, it became hard to ignore the warning signs. In response, Carlisle and other trustees voted to impose more spending limitations, but the harm was already done. The township's finances are currently in utter disarray, and the hamlet is reportedly dealing with a deficit of almost $365 million. This is a far cry from the $561 million surplus that existed only 2 years earlier. There are still concerns about whether corrective measures will be adequate in spite of the growing calls for financial accountability. The consequences of these revelations have been severe and immediate. In an angry reaction to Carlisle's accusations, Henyard publicly referred to her as a liar. However, the reaction has failed to deflect attention from the scandal's expanding extent. The FBI has reportedly stepped in and is investigating Henyard's financial dealings. Federal subpoenas have reportedly been issued, suggesting that authorities may have a long number of witnesses prepared to testify. As pressure builds, Henyard's leadership future remains uncertain.
Invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure.
Carlisle is not the only one who has turned against Henyard. Many of her former allies are now abandoning the ship. One of the worst failures was the indictment of Dalton's deputy police chief, Lace Lacey, on accusations of bankruptcy fraud. As a staunch supporter of Henyard, Lacey helped make some of the most controversial decisions she made as president. But now that he is facing federal charges, his loyalty to Henyard is being questioned. Some sources claim that Lacey may be assisting investigators to protect himself, which may have severe consequences for Henyard as the investigation becomes more intense.
We can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily.
So how did Henyard's most loyal followers become her harshest adversaries? Her more authoritarian management style is the answer. Over the years, Henyard has been accused of misusing her power by threatening and punishing anyone who dared to disagree with her. According to reports, she even targeted and silenced her critics by using police personnel as a weapon. Valeria Stubbs, a former trustee, revealed one particularly alarming accusation. Henyard plotted a shooting at her home as retaliation for her criticism. This horrifying claim has shocked the community and raised serious concerns about the extent Henyard might have been willing to go to maintain control. But Henyard's opponents are not limited to trustees and law enforcement. Her own administrative staff has also started to express their views. Earlier this year, Keith Freeman, Henyard's chief aide and the town administrator, was charged with bankruptcy fraud. Reports state that Freeman, once one of Henyard's closest friends, is now helping investigators. This shift in loyalty may provide crucial evidence that elucidates the full extent of Henyard's alleged misconduct. As more people distance themselves from Henyard and the accusations get more severe, it's clear that her once solid hold on power is slipping. The ramifications of these charges are just beginning, and it's uncertain how pervasive the corruption is or how many more will turn against Henyard as her political empire falls apart. When so many of Henyard's former supporters begin to turn against her, it's clear that she's in trouble. The true wonder, though, is how she managed to stay in power for so long. The answer lies in her ability to manipulate the system and quiet anyone who attempted to challenge her. Henyard was reportedly skilled at using her position to advance her personal goals and those of her followers while keeping her true intentions hidden from the public. One obvious example of her luxury is her purchase of a golden microphone, a costly symbol of power that she used to command meetings and public gatherings and project authority. But as the investigation progresses, it's becoming increasingly obvious that Henyard's time as Dalton's purported dictator may be drawing to a close. The FBI is reportedly drawing nearer, and insiders believe an arrest might be imminent. According to sources, Henyard is currently being questioned by federal authorities and may soon face serious criminal charges. It seems that her long-standing grasp on power will soon be destroyed, along with the full disclosure of the alleged corruption that kept it in place. The walls are closing in. What is the next course of action for Tiffany Henyard? If the rumors are true, she might soon face serious legal consequences, as she could be accused of anything from corruption to financial mismanagement. Even if she avoids jail time, it appears that her political future is in jeopardy. The community has grown weary of the controversies surrounding her leadership, and it's difficult to see how she could ever get her reputation back on track after this episode. As the narrative progresses, one thing becomes evident. Dalton's residents deserve more. They need a leader who prioritizes their well-being over misusing their trust for personal gain. Henyard's stay will likely have long-lasting ramifications, and it will take time to repair the damage she caused. Everyone's attention is currently on the probe and how it might affect Tiffany Henyard's future. Will she be held accountable for her actions, or will she continue to get away with it? The solutions may be made public sooner rather than later because there is not much time left. Meanwhile, the people of Dalton are left to pick up the pieces. They have seen numerous setbacks, the most recent of which is the Henyard dispute. Despite the challenges, the community is hopeful that justice will ultimately be served and that Dalton can overcome this turmoil. As the Tiffany Henyard investigation continues, many significant questions remain. What role did her former colleagues play in her rise to prominence? And why did they keep quiet for so long? How prevalent is the corruption, and who else might be involved? More importantly, will the people of Dalton ever receive the justice they deserve? The answers to these questions will only become clear in time. But one thing is certain: Tiffany Henyard's adventure is far from over. The last chapter has not yet been written because the investigation is still underway and the public has been on edge owing to the scandal's numerous twists. The continued unrest makes it clear that Henyard's actions have shocked the neighborhood. Will she be able to escape accountability once more? Or will she eventually have to face the consequences of her alleged misdeed? Time is running short, and Dalton's residents are in dire need of answers. As the inquiry continues, the community's reactions have been swift and forceful. Many Dalton people feel terribly duped and shocked by her alleged financial mismanagement and unscrupulous acts. One local summed up this sentiment: "We trusted her and she sold us out. The damage she has caused will take years to heal, but there are repercussions for Henyard's actions beyond just financial loss." Dalton residents no longer trust their leadership, which has led many to question the integrity of local officials and wonder how pervasive corruption is. How come so many of her former fans, including trustworthy teammates, have kept quiet about her alleged misdeeds for so long? This kind of betrayal is hard to comprehend, and it's clear that many residents are struggling to accept the situation. In spite of the frustration, there remains optimism. Dalton's citizens are unwilling to let up on their demands for justice and real leadership change. This situation has made many people aware of the need for greater accountability and transparency in local. There's a possibility that as the investigation continues, additional information will come to light and that more people will be charged. The future is still uncertain at this time, but one thing is for sure: Tiffany Henyard will take you by surprise. As one angry individual put it, she is shameless. This is all money that taxpayers will never see again. Henyard's apparent indifference to the situation has drawn criticism from some. One reader remarks, "She's so arrogant that she thinks people are too stupid to hold her accountable." This highlights a more significant issue. Critics claim that Henyard not only abused her position, but also did so with impunity because she believed her acts would go unchallenged. Many locals are outraged and feel misled by this. So, what do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard's controversial career about to take a new turn, or is she finally facing the consequences of her actions? Is there anything else that hasn't been told about this story? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Pay attention and keep asking questions as the investigation goes on.